Now that we have the entire plugin loaded, we can close those modules that we are not going to use and reorganize the desktop. We will take a snapshot of how the photo looks so we can compare, creating a thumbnail in the display module of how the photo looks right now. Before starting the editing process, what we can do is enlarge the photo so that we have the largest part of the sky. To do this, what we are going to do is duplicate the layer using the plugin, pressing the duplicate button. We will change the size of the canvas in percentage, giving a height of 120%, and fixing the photo at the base of the canvas. Now, with the duplicate layer, we are going to select part of the sky and the model, or better yet the entire sky. And we are going to transform it with Ctrl+T, stretching it little by little until it is to our liking. We press Enter to accept. We can see the before and after with the before and after plugin button or by activating and deactivating the layer. We select and center the image. As we already have the image that we are going to reveal or edit, we eliminate the background layer because we no longer need it. And we are going to click on the number 1 button of the flow to generate the entire editing flow. Once the process is finished, we can see how it has created all the layers of the editing flow. We will activate the layers from the bottom to the top to see the result. This is the star removal layer. You can see before and after the removal of stars. If we expand, we will see how the plugin's algorithm has worked with the before and after. The plugin has 4 star removal logarithms. In the plugin's context menu, we can go to change parameters. By pressing 1 to 4, we select which algorithm we want. 1 is the least destructive, and 4 is the most destructive. Depending on the RAWs of each camera, one of the 4 will be more appropriate, so we have to test. In this case, the photo is from a Canon camera and the number 4 fits perfectly. I take this opportunity to comment that, here in Changed Parameters, we have activated the automatic brush selection button. This means that when we click on one of the layer masks, it automatically selects the opacity, flow and color of the brush with which we should paint on the selected layer mask. Specifically, in this star reduction layer, we can compare a before and after, seeing that there are areas where it should not have been applied, with which we can paint over it, especially on the edges, to recover that area in which the plugin has destroyed information, especially in the profile that separates the sky and the scene. We are going to go over the profile to recover that area that the star removal algorithm has destroyed, and so on throughout the profile. Once we have recovered those parts that the plugin should not have destroyed, we can see that the layer mask has left a silhouette of the profile. It is not necessary to be very detailed. We move on to activate the next layer, which is the layer that improves the tone of the entire sky. We activate the next group, which is the sky contrast, and we are going to change the properties of the curves. First, with the dark areas layer, let's tighten it a little more so that the sky is darker. We do the same with the light curves layer. If we see very strong light, especially in areas where there is light pollution, we click on the layer mask, painting in those areas to recover it. Next, we are going to dedicate ourselves to everything that is the galactic center and the Milky Way by activating the contrast group of the galactic center. By subtly painting the layer mask of this group, which is initially black, we select the area to apply the contrast. We are going to change the properties of each of the curves until we see the colors we want in the galactic center. Now, we activate the next layer, which is to darken the sky a little more. If we see it very dark, we can change the opacity. Finally, in the last layer of process number 1, which is the white balance, we are going to change the properties of the curve to achieve an adequate balance. With the blue channel, we change the curve until we see a white balance that we like better. We raise the midtones for cold ones or lower them for warmer ones. We do the same with the green to give more or less magenta. Finally, we will do the same with red. Now that we see the sky well edited, we have finished step number 1, so we are going to click on step number 2. This step creates a new layer to give a little more sharpness to the galactic center. We select the mask of this new layer and paint over the entire Milky Way. We can see that the opacity is at 60%. If we see that it is too much, we can lower it, and on the contrary, if we want to exaggerate it, we can raise it. A term of 60% is advisable. It is quite polished and quite good. Finally, we click on button number 3. The plugin generates a group to create a glow effect. The group consists of a smart object, to which a Gaussian blur and a camera raw filter are applied. I advise that you only alter the camera raw filter. To do this, you have to pay more or less attention to the color temperature you want in the Milky Way. Finally, all that remains is to activate the layer that contains the stars. The advantage of separating the stars from the background is that the editing flow does not affect them, and thus, their light intensity does not change. With this, the sky would be edited with the help of the Rawskystudio plugin. We can do some more touch-ups to improve the development. We click on the star layer so that the following layers are above it. We create a color balance adjustments layer, selecting only the shadows, so that the shadows are not so warm and give a more bluish touch. We can increase or decrease the magentas and the same with the reds. Finally, seeing that the light pollution has turned quite yellow, with the luminosity mask selection module, we can select the yellow lights 1 and generate a curves adjustment layer. Going down the curve of the green channel, we see how magenta begins to appear. We raise the reds a little and lower the blues. Since all the yellows have been altered, what we can do is create a group with this layer and a black layer mask. To paint in the areas that we want to apply this change, we can change the opacity to achieve the desired color. We can see the before and after of the addition. Now that we have finished editing the sky, we deactivate the group to focus on editing the scene. We click on the scene layer. Looking at the photo, you can see a green dominant. To reduce it, we select the yellow ones with lights 1, and we change the green, red and blue channels until we get the desired tone. Another option would be selecting the yellows with lights 1, lowering the saturation and even giving more luminosity. To make the viewer look at the model, we can create a vignetting with an appropriate layer mask. We activate the sky group again to see the process finished. We can see the before and the after.